First time going up there since 2012, so we've always had great games with Wisconsin. Have not played them in a while. 16 was the last time they came down here, but games have always been physical. Expect the same thing to happen. Have a tremendous amount of respect for Paul Chris and what he's been able to accomplish up there and what he continues to do. He was the offensive coordinator early in the 2007, 8, 9, those years. So a lot of the same things that they do offensively remains intact. Offensively, you know, Jonathan Taylor's a guy that certainly is a Heisman watch guy. He's an outstanding running back. Not sure who's better, Robbins or him, but both very, very good running backs. Defensively, they're leading the nation in I think scoring defense, pass efficiency defense, rushing defense, pretty much almost every defensive category, so there'll be a challenge as well. Top 10 team, second time we play in the top 10 team in 2 weeks. Got to get ready. I think young people are resilient. Our guys will be ready to go. We're looking forward to it, and the environment up there is exciting as well, so we'll look forward to going up there and getting it done. So when you look at them offensively, big offensive line, receivers are talented, outstanding tailback, quarterbacks playing at a high efficiency level. Defensively, give you a lot of different looks, a lot of different, what I call simulated four-man pressures, looking like they're coming with more than four, and then coming with four, and then also blitzing and bringing pressure. A lot of different coverage factors involved as well. So, but a good football team, and looking forward to the challenge. So I'll take some questions. Yeah.
Two-pronged question about the way they run the ball and the style of runner Jonathan Taylor is it a different sort of attack than you saw last week? Something that
it's more. It is a different type of attack. You know, when you look at Ohio State, you know, they ran inside zone 18 times, or 20 times, and the outside zone 18 times, and a quarterback counter once, and a truck play, which the gap schemes played one time maybe. So, you know, what you get from Wisconsin is a multitude of gap schemes where they're pulling linemen, sort of counter OT, both guard and tackle pulling. You'll get truck play with them going to the tight end. You'll get inside zone. You'll get like lead ISO. Get a lot more different formations from a lot more different running type plays from a variety of informations and personnel groupings. No huddle. There's a little bit more, I want to say old school, but now it seems contemporary. So there's variations of what they do, and they do it very well.
And considering how good you guys have been against the run, the numbers that Ohio State put up last week, does that offer a bit of chance for this team to say we need to prove that wasn't something?
Well, you know, you got to look at last week as big plays, you know, and things that you work on every single day. You know, you can't stop your feet in the back end as a corner. You can't come to a standstill when a guy's running full go at you. You know, also, you know, you can't just punch the ball out. You got to wrap and tackle the guy. You do that in probably, for sure, 2.5 minutes of the clock run out. I mean, it's 17-10 with 2:58 to go in the half after having to kick a field goal. So it's a closer game. You take away the 2 minute situation, 2:58, maybe it's 17-10 and a half. So a lot of these, you know, a 67-yard run, yeah, they creased us on 3rd and 2. Got to be in your gap, but I mean, it should be a 30-yard run instead of a 60-yard run. That's what I believe. So there's things. He's a good running back, and don't take anything away from Ohio State, but there are things that we could have done from a very technique-oriented situation that I think would help in the situation, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Mark, when you look at the defensive end situation, Mike just talked about using a pair and a spare, and right now you guys have been going with a 3-man rotation. What have you seen from some of the younger guys, maybe Camper, you know, whoever else you got repping there right now that maybe could bring some depth at that spot?
Yeah, you know, Jack Camper missed a lot of practice. I think he could be a very good player. He's got to get himself in shape, but he's working through getting back. But he should be a factor. You know, Michael Fletcher's been out, and you know, he's just starting to work out now. Maybe he gets back here in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so. So gives you that in person there. That's done some different things. Other guys are sort of younger, and he's young. So we don't really know where he's at with the whole thing. But you know, got good players up there. You know, there's Jacob and Willicus have been very solid and active players, and you're going to play your active players, got to make plays. So.
Mark, so much is talked about with their rushing attack, and rightfully so, but their defense doesn't get, I mean, you mentioned a minute ago, it doesn't get a lot of attention. What makes them special on defense?
I think they operate, you're not sitting there saying, okay, hey, here's this particular guy, and he's the only guy they have. I think they operate very well together. They're very well tied together. You can tell it's team defense. They have a lot of guys making a lot of plays. And they're bringing people from every direction at times. And, you know, they're tough to say, okay, where's the pressure coming from? So you've got to be able to designate that, and you've got to block them up. The back end is solid, doing some different things coverage-wise in the back end to keep you off balance as well. But they'll play some tight coverage, and they're getting people in negative yardage situations. I mean, you know, last week I said there were some astronomical numbers I think we talked about, you know, 38 touchdowns, 4 giving up. You know, this week, you know, I think when it's 3rd and 7 plus, I think opposing offenses are 1 out of 39 against them, which is nasty. You know, that's almost unheard of. So we've got to do better than that, but there's some different things statistically that they're doing very, very well, and it shows in terms of how they play. They play hard, they play active, they put a premium on toughness. We do as well. So it should be a great football game. We're looking forward to it.
Mark, in the middle here, with Trent Gilson, he's kind of, seems like his role is increasing weekly. What have you seen from him individually in his growth, and then your tight ends overall between Dotson, Seibert, and Gilson? They already have more production than all of either of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think that our tight ends are playing pretty well. You've seen Seibert make some plays. You've seen Gilson make some plays. You've seen Dotson make some plays, and he's involved a lot too. So all 3 of those guys are involved. I just think that they're, you know, Trent's a young player, so you know he's coming. But he caught the ball very well last week, and said all along because he's an athletic guy. And he can catch the football. He shows toughness, and he's active. He needs game experience like a lot of young players, and I think he gets better and better.
Mark, you mentioned earlier with Matt about how Wisconsin runs zone and gap. They do a little bit of both. 2 things on that, I guess. As a defensive coach, what would you rather see schematically? What's easier, maybe?
Well, you know, when we were doing all that, you know, my idea was that you do it out of so many different formations, it's hard to see it all in practice. You know, it's hard to present all those different things in practice because you can do it out of so many different formations. And so that was a positive. From a negative standpoint, you know, you have to have the people to do it as well. So, you know, when we used to do that, and you know, we were effective with Javon Ringer, and that was pretty much the Javon Ringer years, and really Edwin Baker and Le'Veon Bell years. And then we sort of went away from that a little bit, you know, in the 2013, 14, and those type of things. We found a way to do some different things. So it's a combination of which would I rather, you know, which would I rather defend, or which would I rather use. I want to be productive, and I want to defend. I want to be, you know, I want to defend well.
And then also,
It's difficult.
as an offense, it's difficult to run both effectively, right? I mean, can you speak to them a little bit about how, I mean, Wisconsin's pretty unique in that sense.
Yeah, Wisconsin's pretty unique in that respect, but they also will get in you know, 3 wide receiver sets and pass the ball. And the quarterback's been very consistent and efficient in what he's done and what they ask him to do.
Mark, I want to ask about Matt Coughlin. I know you said if they're game, he's still your guy you want to go with. When it's a kicker from a coaching aspect, when it seems like, I mean, it's not like most positions, it seems like a lot of times it's just mental and confidence. Are there things you can do to try and build that up, or is it?
I think the thing that you can do as a coach, yeah, you can say, hey, it's okay, and you can give a young man confidence. And the worst thing that I can do right now is, I believe, we got to pressure, especially in practice. We have to do some different things from that perspective. But from my perspective, you know, I need to give a guy confidence. I've seen him make kicks. He's had a great summer camp. Probably missed 2 the whole camp. And you know, I'm going to remain confident in him until somebody else takes over that position. But somebody else got to take it over too. And that's another part of this stick. But I believe he can go in and make the kicks, and that's what we're going to do.
Do you look at if there's any kind of technique things that start to
thought he maybe raised his head up a couple times, maybe in the past, but this past week, I don't think his head came up. Now, he got pressure. You know, if you got a guy who's 6'5", 265 or so in your face, it might bother you a little bit if you were right a column or something. You know, so, just saying, you might not abbreviate, I don't know. So, but, you know, there's a lot of pressure. There's pressure out there for everybody. There's enough pressure out there to go around for everybody, whether you're a corner, making a play on a guy running down the field at 100 miles an hour, you know, full throttle. But if he makes him cut back, the guys behind him are going to make the tackle. So there's a lot of different things going on out there. And, you know, I've always asked our players to do the very best they can do and aggressively attack a situation. If they do that, I'm going to believe in them and I'm going to go with it and I'll take the hit. So that's what we'll do.
Mark, their running game obviously sort of speaks for itself. I was wondering, what have you seen from their passing game? How do they sort of operate in that realm, and what are sort of their strengths and weaknesses in that regard?
Yeah, you know, they've got good wide receivers. They're efficient. Tight end is used a lot and very efficient as well, and good pass catching tight end, a good blocker as well. Probably one of the best tight ends we've seen, I believe. Big offensive line, like I said, and the quarterback's been efficient. But they're going to take their shots down the field. You know, a lot of play, they're going to run, play action on first down. You know, second down becomes a little bit more gauged on down and distance, maybe that type of thing. But they'll run it as well. So, you know, they're an efficient football team offensively. They haven't turned the ball over a lot, and defensively they're playing extremely well. And special teams have been very solid as well.
You've not always had somebody like Shane on your staff. How much does he help in this situation? Do you let him handle more with Matt? Or? Yeah,
I think that, you know, he's been a kicker. He's kicked at the highest level possible on numerous NFL teams, and so, you know, he's that guy that can sit and talk and be that, I think, you know, in-house psychologist or to some degree for him. But I think he's been there. Anytime you've got a guy with experience, you know, you can at least listen. It's like talking to Morton Anderson, kicking. You know, it's a whole different world than how you approach it when you talk to Morton about those things. And it's beneficial.
As it relates to your program, do you think you can become a victim of your own success and that your previous, you know, record creates outsized expectations?
Well, I think that we have high expectations within our program. I think every year we line up and say, okay, we win every football game. I think that's what you have to be able to do. To say I'm a victim, that might be accurate. But you know, I just believe in trying to win and continuing to preach confidence, and part of that, and to go in expecting to win, expecting for good things to happen. And I think even last week, you know, is it half full or is it half empty? You know, and I can point to numerous times in that football game where, you know, we got a chance. You know, you could look at all different types of scenarios. If you don't turn the ball over 2 times in the first 4 plays, what's the rest of the first half look like? You certainly don't have 2:58 on the clock. What if we had scored a touchdown rather than kicked a field goal? It would have been 17-14 at the half. So there's a lot of ifs and what ifs there that you can go through, and you can just sort of point towards things. Now, we had to play well. We had to play perfect. And we did not. But there's enough good there that you could point to say, hey, we're hanging. We're hanging there. We're competitive. You know, they got 16 yards in the first quarter. Now, the second quarter went very, very poorly. But there are some things that we could have done. Pretty much like after the game, I said, hey, there's some things that we could have done better and should do better, and there's some things that they did awful well. So it's a combination of both. But we're sort of hanging in there, hanging around, but we want to win every football game, and that's what we're going to try and do, and I think that we have the opportunity to do that. And when we've had our great years, our seniors have had their best year, and we've won the close games. We've won them. So, combination of those things. It's always tight. The games are always tight.
Frank, how much do you relate to Wisconsin's program as somebody that can be similar to what you guys have been? And then also,
Yeah.
what do you admire about and attribute to their continued success?
Yeah, I see them as, I've always said that there are certain teams that we wanted to emulate when I first came here. Iowa was one. I think Wisconsin was one because they get it done with toughness. They get it done as a team-oriented. They do it the hard way to some respect, and I can appreciate those values. And I think they've always been very well coached. So I can respect that and point towards that and say, hey, this is how you get it done.
Mark, two separate things here. The first one, going back to Cogman, his misses have all come since Jude took over as long snapper. Is there anything there with that, either from a physical or just a mental standpoint from a kicker?
I don't think so. I think the snaps have been good, all have been good, the holds have been good, the laces are up. Done a good job with those things. You look at a couple of the kicks that he missed. Well, he made them first, and then there was a penalty, and he missed the second one. So there's a couple like that. But again, I just think it's very important to stay confident in him. It's a tough job. I mean, it's all eyes are on you, and easier said than done sometimes. I do think he's got to make them, but we're going to give him confidence.
And the second thing, you're going back to Wisconsin for the first time since 2012. You don't have a lot of players from Wisconsin, but Noah's kind of developed into that third down guy in that package. I guess, what have you seen from him right now in that, and is he your middle linebacker of the future?
Noah Harvey is an excellent athlete. He can run. He's explosive. He can jump. I think he plays a variety of positions for us. He's played money. He's played Mike. He's played our defensive end in a nickel situation, so he's on all the special teams. Jack Heinrich's also from the state of Wisconsin, so he'll be going back up there too. But he's a young player, and he's a guy that I think has a very bright future. Are you good? Yeah, go ahead.
Similar to Ohio State in a way, you've had some historic games, we'll call it, against Wisconsin specifically. Keith Nichols' pass comes to mind right off the top of my head. But when you view this series, how would you best describe Michigan State and Wisconsin?
Tight games, physical games. First game up there in 07, it was a tight game, went back and forth. Here there's been last-second kicks and last-second wins. The Hail Mary pass, as you said. So there's been a rocket pass. So a lot of close games and highly contested. We look at the playoff games, we look at the 2010 game, how we won it here, and then the playoff game, or the championship game. They've been to a lot of Big Ten championships. I think we've been to 3. So there's been a lot of that going back and forth. They've got great tradition there. They took a step back last year, 8-5, in their respect, and they've accelerated things. So we're looking forward to the challenge, as I said, and should be a great football game. We'll be ready to play.
Two more, Matt. Without getting into specifics as far as what you want to do, obviously scheme-wise, all their wins have been blowouts. They've been hammering teams. You look at the Northwestern game, they stayed in it. I guess, what did you glean from watching that film and how they were able to do what other teams have not been able to do?
Well, they stopped the run. They had 120 yards rushing. So they played very well against the run, and they played well defensively, even though, the game was, 24-9, and then Northwestern hit the one to get back close. But, they played well. They stopped the run effectively, at least somewhat. And I think that's where it's got to start. You've got to be able to stop the run against these guys. So you got to be able to tackle in space, not let 23 get out the back door. Because, he's a very good running back. He's a 10, 500-meter guy. So, he can run.
Mark, you said that your team knew they had to be perfect to beat Ohio State. Does that same pressure to be perfect exist this week against Wisconsin? How do your players respond to that pressure?
Yeah, I guess you got to be perfect. That's what you're trying to do every single game, and I don't think we've played a complete game yet, so we'll continue to look for that. I don't know who does, but you keep trying to shoot for that. But, I've already talked about the things that they do extremely well. you can't go up to Wisconsin and turn the ball over in the first 4 plays. Now, I thought we overcame that and gave us a little lift actually at Ohio State because we overcame it, but you can't go do those type of things. You've got to control the ball, you've got to be able to have the ball security. Defensively, you got to stop the run, you can't give explosive plays, and you got to play well on special teams. But you got to go up there first and foremost with the belief that you're going to win, and that's as big as anything. And I think we'll have that. That's all good?